Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm very excited to talk to you guys a little bit more about TransUnion, our internship program, and some of our opportunities that we have open at this moment. So I manage the U.S. internship program here at TransUnion, and with me today I have two of our managers for our internship roles. We have Leo Rich, who is going to talk to you a little bit more about his accounting internship. And we have Robbie Ranhawa, who will be talking to you guys a little bit more about our information security team. So there's going to be a lot of information coming at you guys today. Feel free to ask questions. We'll be checking the Q&A section. Would love to hear and see you guys too. So feel free to raise your hand if you're feeling a little bit courageous at this time. I know I was telling everyone I'm on my second cup of coffee right now, getting energized at this time. So let me start off then today to talk to you guys a little bit more about TransUnion as a company. And let's use the chat here to start off. Could a couple of you tell me, when you think about TransUnion, what's the first word that comes to mind? Who do you think we are? What do you think we do as a company? Credit? Yes. Credit rating, credit scores, credit reporting, FinTech? Yes, our title kind of gave it a little bit away, right? A little bit of FinTech there. Civil, yes. Awesome. These are all great answers, guys. So, oh, someone worked with our team at Goldman Sachs. That's amazing. See the crossover here. So a little bit about TransUnion. You guys are right. Historically, we are known as one of the big three credit bureaus, right? A lot of folks still think of us as only within the financial services area. What TransUnion has really become is a global information and insights company. What we're doing is making trust possible between our consumers and our customers. So you may be asking, how do we do that as a company, right? Well, let me show you a little bit of a diagram here. So when businesses are working with TransUnion, we are helping them find leads for consumers to provide them better opportunities, right? Building that bridge between them. But also, when we're working with businesses, we are able to help them create relevant friction-right experiences that allows our consumers, so you and I, right, enjoying these brand experiences that are easy, safe, and personal to us. Now, when it comes to a little bit more about the personal empowerment, we are engaging with consumers as well, and we're able to create personal empowerment because consumers can now access their data and shape their own financial futures. And we call this information for good. We're helping on both ends, right? Making sure that your information is being kept safe and that it's correct, while we're working with our customers to make sure that they are working directly with you and there's no fraud, that it's really you who they're working with and they're seeing the most accurate data on that end. Now, with TransUnion, we've grown quite a bit. So I personally have been at TransUnion for 6.5 years now. And when I first started, we had roughly about, I'm going to say 3,200 associates globally. And to date, we have over 12,000 associates. So we've grown exponentially over the past couple of years. You can find us all across the globe. We're in 30 different countries. We have 75 plus offices. We are actually headquartered in Chicago, but we do have offices within the US. Some of our bigger offices that I can think of right now would be in our Atlanta, Georgia location. We have Boca Raton, Florida. We have White Plains, New York, San Luis Obispo, California, just to name a few. Definitely have a lot of our associates as well working, not just close to our headquarters, but also remotely and globally. So we do see a lot of interconnection there. I know I have team members on my end that are in South Africa and India. So it's really fun and working globally with others, especially with the time changes and across different teams as well. So that's one of the great things about TransUnion, getting the opportunity to work cross-functionally as well and building those networks. Now, when you think about TransUnion, credit scores is one of the first things that comes to mind. And with that, it means that we have a lot of data, right? We have a lot of information for individuals within our systems. As you can see here, we have actually 65 plus petabytes of information. and with over 1 billion files of consumers. So to put it into perspective, right, into how much information we have here at TransUnion, we have information for 1 in every 7 adult humans in the world. Now that's a lot of information. And our responsibility here is to keep that information accurate and safe. And I know Robbie's going to touch a little bit with you guys later on with the information security team and some of the things that we do here at TransUnion and roles that we have open, especially in our internship roles here for that space. I'll take a quick pause there. Does anyone have any questions about TransUnion that I can answer? Great. Does TransUnion provide sponsorships? Yes. It's dependent on the role there, but yes, we do offer sponsorships for international students. Just really depends on the team and the role that you're looking at. And we do have STEM OPT, yes, we do see that there. I'll move on to share a little bit about TransUnion here in our internship program. So we have a 12-week paid internship program. You're working full-time over the summer with us, and that's 37 and a half hours. We have 2 main start dates, May 31st and June 12th for all of our internships. It's really going to be dependent on when you are done with school to begin those internship roles. We have 28 internships at the moment open for our 2023 internship cohort. And just a quick fact here, last summer, 40% of our interns were either hired full-time or extended, meaning they got to continue their internship throughout the fall and spring semester with us. With the internship program, we offer a variety of events as well. So not only are you working with the teams, developing your skills, learning different systems, but you also get an opportunity to network with your peers and as well as engage with our very own career coach here at TransUnion. We host a couple of different professional development workshops, and here's just a highlight of 2. We do a resume workshop and a Rock Your Profile, which is LinkedIn related on how to update your profile, and as well as owning your brand. So how do you put best foot forward here as you're networking and engaging with new TU associates during your internship? And again, these are just a quick highlight. We do have a variety of events, and our internship program is going to be in a hybrid state. So we have a couple of internships that we'll talk about today that are focused on a specific location. We have 3 that are actually going to be focused on our Chicago location, just based on the role and having to go into the office for this particular opportunity. But all the others are going to be open to a hybrid format. So if you're close to one of our offices, you're free to come in or work remotely. And some you can fully be working remotely. You don't need to be near one of our offices on that end. And here, like I said, I'm just highlighting a couple of our internship opportunities like accounting, IT business operations, data science and analytics, information security. We have IT support as well and sales there. So we'll talk a little bit more in detail about each group and give an overview as well. So want to highlight to you all the recruitment process because I think it's very important to understand, once you apply, what happens, right? What's next? So when you're applying to the internship opportunities, within the first couple of weeks, we are reviewing resumes. So that can be between week 1 to 3. All of our internship roles are currently open right now, and a few are actually going to be closing by the end of this week. So make sure if you're interested in our internship roles that you are applying before end of day Friday, 5 p.m. Central. So we'll be reviewing the resumes, and if you are moved to the next step, the qualifications there, then you are invited to complete a video interview, one-way video interview, or it can be a phone conversation with the hiring manager, the recruiter, or depending on the role, sometimes we do have coding challenges, and we do see that mainly with our data science and analytics group. After week 4, once those are completed, week 5, we're reviewing the videos, reviewing notes, making our selections of who we'd move forward with to connect with the manager and team. So then we move those over around week 6, to the managers for them to review our notes and get their final say on who we'd be moving over to do a team interview. Now, all of our interviews are going to be virtual, so you'll be using Teams or Zoom. Mainly, we've been seeing a lot of Teams on our end working on that. So the interviews typically are between an hour to an hour and a half with the team, and you're meeting with maybe one or two, sometimes three individuals in separate formats. So you can meet with one person for 30 minutes, and then maybe you meet with two other team members together for 45 minutes. The setup will be different, but we would share that with you ahead of time. And you'll receive a link when doing these, setting up these interviews. So you get to select what time works best for you based on your availability and, of course, the team's availability. Now, that the interviews can typically take about 1 to 2 weeks, just depending on timing for everyone. And then we'll see a decision being made around week 9 and 10. So just want to make sure that I can cover with you guys what to expect as you're applying with us and waiting to hear back on some of our internship roles here for the summer. Any questions so far? So do we accept STEM OPT? We do accept it. Again, it's just going to be dependent on the roles that you're applying for and you're looking at on that front. So that's going to be just a further conversation that you have with the recruiter for the opportunity that you're applying for. I believe we had a location in Tampa. I just believe it was a smaller office, so definitely more close to Boca Raton is where we typically see in Florida. Location-wise, I think I covered that a little bit. Like I mentioned, we have a couple of our roles that are going to be focused in Chicago. That's more for IT support positions as they need help within the office itself. But every other position that we have, they're open to hybrid. So if you're close in office coming in, you are free to come in. Or if you are fully remote, meaning that you don't live near one of our offices, you can work remote as well. I will say ahead of time, maybe this is going to be a question that I'm going to answer ahead of time, but we don't offer relocation for our interns, which is just why we have the availability for you guys to either work fully remote or hybrid, just depending on the location that you're in within the US. So for our graduate students, we do accept graduate students. You'll see specifically in some of our requisitions, if they're only looking more for a bachelor's, or if they're open to graduates, you'll see a little bit more of those specifics on the roles themselves. But we do see them applying as well. For full-time roles, what we're looking at is right now we don't have any particular roles that we're looking to hire for folks that are graduating, let's say in May and June. Those typically will roll around March, so I would keep an eye out there. Typically for our open full-time positions, we are looking to hire someone within 90 days of opening that. So that's why I'm like, March is probably around the good time to start applying, because then you move through the process, and around May, June is when you're graduating and available to start working full-time. For start dates, we have some flexibilities. I know some schools might need to start may have finals a little bit later. So we can definitely have those conversations on next steps if that needs to happen. Yes, we do have some flex. What is the acceptance rate for internship hires? So it really is going to vary from team to team. I don't have the percentage top of my head for like information security or accounting, but I'll say for our data science and analytics, it was about, I'm gonna say 4%. I think we do receive a lot of applicants in some of our roles. For example, information security, we have seen about 500 applicants already, and we're looking to hire 8 interns for that team. Why are only 40% of interns accepted after the internship? So 40% of our interns are either extended a full-time offer or they extend their internship with us. It's really just dependent on the need for the team, whether it needs to be continuing projects or having those full-time roles available, or sometimes it just wasn't the right fit for the student, right? They thought this might be the right career path for them and decided to pursue something else and experience something else. And sometimes they'll come back to TransUnion for the next summer, but looking at a different team to continue there. So that's how you'll see the variety of the percentage. Sometimes some of our students end their summer and they're going to have a busy school year, so they say, you know what, I'm just interested in maybe coming back next year. We can continue the conversation once you have your roles posted. So that's why we have that number of 40%. Alrighty. So I think I'm going to take a quick pause and we can get to some of the more of these questions there. I want to make sure that we have enough time for Ravi and Leo to give a quick overview of their team there. So I'll continue answering. I'll probably type some up throughout the chat, so please keep an eye out, guys. And let me go here. I think I covered most of the items there. So now we're going to share a little bit more insight into our internship opportunities. So first off, we're going to have Ravi Ranhawa, our Vice President of Risk Management, to give a quick overview here to you all about our information security team and where some of these internship roles are open within his group. So Ravi, I'll hand it off to you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great to be here. I see over 200 participants, so I think that's fantastic. And keep the questions coming if you have any for me. Given we've got a lot in the queue now, we'll probably have to circle back to it. But yeah, I'm more than happy to answer anything I can. Just to really level set overall and kind of guide you on why we have a big security organization. And I think you heard Nancy talk about the type of data that we have and how it's pretty much one of the most important things that we do as a company is to secure and protect that data. And we do that not only because it's the right thing to do, but because there's a lot of adversaries out there that are looking for that data. So I collected a few interesting facts that I saw that might be of interest, just related to security. And I won't go through all these because there's quite a number, but you can see that in terms of the cost of data loss, it keeps going up year over year. You can see that overall cybercrime expenses will reach 10.5 trillion annually by 2025. It's basically a number that's pretty hard to even comprehend. Ransomware has grown significantly, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But basically, it's estimated every 11 seconds there is a organization that is being targeted and attacked from a ransomware adversary. And then you'll see as you go further down the list that the U.S. is a major target, especially U.S.-based companies. And so the U.S.-based companies and U.S. targets account for 46% of all cyber attacks. I think one interesting note is around hacker kits, and they are readily available. And so therefore, what was 5-10 years ago more of a sophisticated sort of type of adversary, it's now anyone can go in and download kits that can be used with not in-depth security knowledge, and so the landscape has changed in that way. And then I think the last one, and why you're all here, is it's a growing field and it's a growing industry. By 2025, there will be 3.5 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs globally. There's been talk in the U.S. about being unable to fill roles. I don't see it. I see great talent every day, and a lot of you on here as well. And we hire, once we get opportunities, we're able to find great candidates and hire them. And we're looking forward to continue doing that through this internship program. All right. So I like this slide for two reasons. One, it gives you a good sense of the most common types of attacks. And I'll just give you kind of a quick overview of a few of them. But the second reason I really like it is the graphic that's in the background, and it's kind of a running joke that every time you used to talk about hacking or security, somebody would post a stock photo with a guy sitting at a computer with a few command prompts open, typically wearing a black hoodie covering his head, and that's sort of the typical what you think of as a hacker. But I think more and more now, and especially on today's day and age, the attackers are sophisticated. They could be from nation states. There's certainly it's not just some guy in his basement wearing a hoodie and trying to attack companies. Not to say that there's not still a lot of those, but I always found that funny. What you'll see in terms of the most common types of attacks, the big ones that hopefully you've heard about, even if you're not in a security field, is phishing, where someone sends an email to try to get you to, click links or disclose some information. You'll see things like a DDoS, where someone is sending a bunch of information to a particular destination that's trying to overwhelm the system. And it could be, it's typically not from one computer. It's usually a series of bots around the world to disguise where it's coming from, and to send traffic down different routes. And then you'll see things more related to application security, like cross-site scripting, which is sort of a code-based vulnerability within an application on the web that redirects you to a site that you're not trying to go to. And then malware, of course, is a big one that I think most people are familiar with, where it's a type of virus that's installed usually through clicking a bad link, or it just could travel through networks. If one person gets it, then the malware has the ability to sort of move and get to other systems as well. So these are the common types of attacks, and these are the things that we're thinking about and defending against day in and day out. And if you go to the next slide, we'll talk about how we're structured to make sure we're mitigating against those types of scenarios. And so this is an overview of what information security looks like at TransUnion. And in a minute, I'll high level a few of these areas, and then on the next slide, we'll talk about which areas we're hiring and where we have opportunities. In a traditional security model, you've got certain capabilities like identity and access management that's really focused on making sure that the right people are accessing the right resources at the right times. And so it's not only a security, but it's also making sure people can get what they need. Cloud security is a relatively new capability. As we move as a company, and as the industry moves more and more information into a cloud environment, there's a unique set of security capabilities that you have to implement in a cloud environment versus an on-premise environment. And so we have a dedicated team focused on that. My team and the area that I lead is technology risk and compliance management. This is really responsible for making sure we've identified the key risks to our organization, and we're taking the appropriate steps to mitigate against those risks. And then a key sort of offshoot of that is complying with all local laws, regulations related to privacy, data, and there's some cybersecurity laws, not only here in the US, but globally. And then I think some of the bigger ones that we have are cybersecurity operations. It's responsible for programs like our defense, our attack surface management, threat intelligence. All of these are sort of cool areas that look and see what type of attacks are happening in the environment. How do we distill that information into our teams? How do we analyze it and figure out what defenses we need to enhance, and then monitoring it, making sure that if we see any anomalous behavior, that we're able to identify what it is and stop it before it becomes a problem in our systems. So that's kind of just an overview of our information security organization. And we do have a number of roles that we're hiring interns for within information security. So Nancy, if you go to the next slide, the areas that I mainly touched on, you'll see kind of, I guess the colors don't look great, but basically the gray circles are the ones that we don't have current open internship roles, and the white circles are the ones where we are hiring. So information security program enablement, which I didn't touch on, is basically making sure that we have a good prioritization methodology for all the things that we want to do as a security team. We work with our business stakeholders. We make sure that our prioritization is their prioritization, and that we're working together to a common goal. Our international and information security officers are really our liaisons that go and work directly with the teams. And these are the teams that are building solutions for TransUnion, where their goal is not, security is not their first goal. It's one of their goals, and they need some help in many cases because they're not as deep in security knowledge, and that's where information security officers come in and assist them. And then the last one that I didn't touch on yet is solutions architecture and engineering. This is the team that evaluates the design of our products and solutions, make sure they're secure, and then build stuff. So they're really an architecture and engineering organization that delivers on a lot of cool stuff. So that's the opportunities we have within information security. I see a lot of people, participants, and I saw a few posts in the chat about security majors and things like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of those resumes, and yeah, good luck, and looking forward to hopefully working with some of you.
Awesome. Thank you, Robbie. And I don't know if maybe you can answer just one or two questions here. One of we have one specifically that's asking if they don't have any certifications, are those very important for the internship roles? What do you see mainly from the candidate side?
Yeah, no, I think certifications is not a requirement for any of the roles we're looking at. I think that the main things we're looking for, which I'm generalizing because we have several different positions and they're looking for different things, but primarily some coursework in security, so some background in information security. And then in particular, a lot of what we do is analyzing data and building capabilities. And so I think quite a number of our roles have some background in some type of programming language. Some, I think we're looking for Python, others we're looking for maybe certain other niche languages. So that's kind of a couple of the big ones.
Awesome. I know someone's asking here for major. Are there any specific majors that you look for in the information security team? From my experience, I've seen wide variety. It doesn't have to be specifically information security, cybersecurity. I've seen information systems, computer science. From my end as a recruiter, probably, I don't know, as a manager.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I was going to say computer science and security related management information systems. Those are all majors we look for. Yeah, but anything sort of related to a technical field, those are pretty much the, I think that sort of puts you right in the wheelhouse.
Sagar here has a question: if they took an information security class where they practice SQL, injection attack, and others in seed labs, would that make them eligible for an information security internship? We're talking a little bit about that in the previous slide there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, one, if you have a passion, two, you've got some background in it, which it sounds like you've got something there, then yeah, I think, yeah, it makes sense.
Would you say there's any specific coursework or background that makes a strong candidate for information security? Anything that you would recommend that they make sure to highlight in the resume to help them stand out, what you've seen?
In addition to what we said, maybe some, analytics, any type of like setting, some like the person before mentioned SQL scripting, Python scripts, anything like that. I think to help any coursework related to that, or any side projects or activities that you do related to that, I would highlight those.
Perfect. Thank you. And we'll continue answering some more questions. Robbie, if you see some that you want to answer through
yeah,
there.
I'll jump in the Q&A and type some answers if I can.
Yeah, for sure. Anything they see online. I want to make sure we can give Leo some time here to talk about his internship role. So thank you, Robbie, for sharing more intel about the information.
Thank you.
So with us, we have here today Leo Rich, who's our Senior Director of Financial Reporting. And currently he has the accounting internship role open. You can see the QR code here to apply. I'll share the link for all of our information security roles on the chat in just a bit, guys. But Leo, I'll hand it off to you to talk a little bit more about your team and the role.
Thank you, Nancy. Hi, everyone. Here to talk a little bit about my role. When I talk about my role, I like to talk about TransUnion culture as well, and the culture of our finance and accounting organization. I've been here at TransUnion now for 9 years. I've worked in our external reporting area, and I worked on our SEC filings. And since I've been here, I've seen TransUnion change quite a bit, grow considerably, as Nancy pointed out. For example, our revenue since I've been here has tripled, and that's pretty significant, and that has grown both organically as well as grown through acquisitions, and that's been very fun times for accounting folks because we've been in the thick of things, working on the acquisitions, doing the actual accounting, and helping bringing the new company helping to bring two companies into one through acquisitions. To talk a little bit about my role, I work in corporate accounting. I'm responsible for consolidations in corporate accounting, and we do quite a bit. We do, my teams put together the 5 financial statements: the cash flow statement, statement of comprehensive income, a statement of stockholders' equity, income statement, and balance sheet. We do analysis on those statements and provide information to our senior management through management reports to our senior finance management. We're also responsible for several areas of accounting. We do the accounting for our stock-based compensation, our debt, our hedges, our lease accounting, as well as the accounting for our shares. We interact with multiple individuals across the organization, multiple functional areas across the organization, including our segments, finance areas, our segment accounting areas, our legal team, our compensation team, and a few others. So it's a great organization to work in. It's a great group to work with. To talk a little bit more about the culture, I like to point out a few things. One, I like to point out our global town halls. I think I come from a background and from prior companies whereby we've had similar town halls, and I've always found that to be very, very informative. It gives the employees an idea of where the company has been, where the company is going. It helps us to understand different things like security, security, the importance of security within our organization. And so, that's part of our culture, just informing our employees through town halls. We also have finance town halls, which I think is also very, very important. And we talk about the performance of our company. And so employees at all levels within finance and accounting have an understanding of how well the organization is doing. We also talk about, our goals and how we fit within those goals. So it's pretty clear and visible how we contribute to the overall success of the organization. So when I think about TransUnion, and I think about my 9 years at TransUnion, and I think about my experience at TransUnion, the only thing I can think about is the only things that come to my mind are good thoughts. So great organization to work for. A little bit more about the position itself. Interns that I've had within my organization, I've hired an intern and he's moved on to another segment area. And all the feedback that I get is that, individuals they learn a lot in terms of our GL systems. They learn a lot in terms of our reporting systems. They learn a lot about financial accounting and reporting. They learn a lot about corporate accounting. So I think that one of the feedbacks that I've gotten from my interns, as well as other interns that I've talked to within the finance and accounting organization, is that there's a lot of growth and development that they gain from their experience at TransUnion. I'll pause there, Nancy, to see if there are any questions.
Our graduate students that are focused on finance or studying finance, I should say, apply for the accounting role?
Okay. The focus is really mainly on accounting individuals. We have had in the past finance roles where we had interns for finance, but my role is specifically for accounting majors.
I think that was one of the most common questions that we had here, Leo.
Yeah.
Definitely keep an eye out for more. Are there any specific tools that would be helpful to learn or know for the accounting position?
Yeah, I think that having certain classes is very helpful. So if the candidate has had one financial accounting, one financial accounting class, maybe a cost accounting class. So I think just probably if they've had a handful of accounting classes, that's probably the most important thing. That's most helpful.
Thank you, Leo.
Thank you, Nancy.
If you see any more pop up, feel free to look at the Q&A. I've been trying to type away as many as I can, but I'll answer a couple of live questions here too. I'm going to talk a little bit more about our other positions. So we're going to show a little bit of the highlight, and then of course I'll share the QR codes here. So one of our other roles would be our AV support internship. So that is with Joe Williams. We call him DJ Joe as he hosts a lot of our virtual events. And of course, there's some fun events with DJing here at TU. He's our at-home DJ. And so an intern working with his team, they would need to be local to the Chicagoland area. In this role, you'd be going about, I would say, 3 to 4 days into the office, as a lot of the work that they do is in our Chicago office. They're working with all the audio visuals, so ensuring that our large meetings, as Leo was mentioning, some of our town halls specific to the company or groups, they're the ones ensuring that they are running smoothly, that the cameras are working, everyone's mic'd up who's ever in person, as well as ensuring that the networks are working properly. And they do a lot of support, not just in the US, but globally as well. They have team members that work with them at a global scale. Their job is just to make sure, like, we have our team here in Way Up, making sure that these type of events are running smoothly without those technical difficulties. So definitely an important role, and you get to learn a lot within the group. I would say what's really great opportunity when it comes to this position is that, one, you're learning from the very start here what it means to be in the AV support side in corporate, and two, this team works with everyone within TransUnion. So our intern within the AV support team last year actually had the chance to network and meet a lot of the executives for the events that they were helping support there. So that's a great opportunity if that's an area that you're interested in. So to make sure, I have all the QR codes here for each role for you to feel free to apply. I know one of the main questions is, where do you apply? If you signed up through Way Up, feel free to look at the rules through Way Up and apply through there. It'll take you to our job board. We have all our positions posted on Handshake as well. So feel free to look through there. And if not, again, QR codes. Take a picture of it, scan it as we're going through the presentation here, guys. Another group, this again will be in person, is for IT support internship. So here you're going to be working with our end user computing team. And within this role, you're actually working on desktop engineering, desktop support, virtual desktop environments, and even a bit of the mobility side. So they are focused, again, for someone to be in our Chicago office, as that is where our main location for all the tech support is. So as you can see, some of the projects that you'll get to work on would be hardware inventory, computer imaging, and of course, troubleshooting hardware issues. So this is more of a hands-on opportunity. And of course, again, being in the office, getting to meet and network with individuals at all different levels. We have a space called the Node in the Chicago office, actually, where our associates can walk in and request support where needed there on their computers or mobile devices. Definitely a great opportunity if you're starting up in information systems, computer science, looking to start off and understanding just more of the hardware side. This is a great opportunity for you guys. Our interns get to learn a lot. We've had quite a few interns within this group who then move on either to a full-time role within this team, or we've seen them even progress into other groups like information security, to name one of the main groups. Some are software development. So definitely a great start for you if this is something new and first stop internship. Next, we have our enterprise service management data analytics internship. I'll give you the high level overview, right? When we think about all the different processes that our products have on the back end, right? This team is ensuring that any updates that are made to the processes are correct, and that there is no downtime or very small downtime that doesn't affect our applications and the usage of those applications for our consumers and our customers. So it's a very important role. It's very much focused on the data side and looking at the information and being able to provide the insights to the teams of, hey, this, when you changed or updated this process, it did a slowdown of 30 minutes, which meant our customers did not have access to this. Want to make sure that we're keeping an eye on this and correcting it for any future updates. Make sure to do X, Y, Z. All right, so that's a little bit of the back end and kind of a high level overview of that role. But this was not as specific to data science and analytics. I would say when you're looking at modeling and machine learning, this is a little bit different on that front. So definitely, I would say this is more if you're in business analytics, looking at that side of data. This will be more of your round. We do have a data science and analytics internship. We actually have 6 openings, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a few. We have our Inside Sales Summer Internship. So if sales is an area of interest, this might be the right role for you. You'll be working with our sales team. You'll go through a bit of training there for the first, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks, understanding the different products that our specialized risk group works with. So specifically, the customers that what they help deliver is actionable data within fraud mitigation, asset recovery, skip tracing. So our interns actually start off by working on all the requests that are coming through of people that are interested in our products, and they're the ones making the calls, reaching out, and helping set up a call with our account executives. So you kind of are that first touch point of working and networking with this individual and giving them more insight into the product to make sure that it fits the needs that they're looking for. So you can set up then a further discussion with our account executive. What's great about this program is that with our interns within this group, we do see a lot of opportunity for growth. So you can do the internship and then moving into the sales development relationship role where you would, or sales representative there, sales development representative. You can be there for about a year, I would say. They'll help get you certified, understanding the different accounts and territories. Then there's a possibility for you to move into an account executive position. Now, one thing that's cool about sales is that you get to work with a variety of teams. So you get to work with marketing, you get to work with legal, you get to work with business operations. So if sales might not be the right fit for you after that internship, there is an opportunity for you to expand and go into, because you've had the chance to network with them as well and learn more about it, and the team fully supports those moves as well. So just a quick high level for our sales internship role. Now, majority of the team is located in Florida. So if you're local to that area, definitely there would be some opportunities for you to go into the office. However, if you're not local to Florida, they are happy to have you on remote as well. Or in a hybrid state, if you're open to going into one of our offices. I know last year we had one of our sales interns who was local to Chicago. So he would come into the Chicago office with us there. And let me go to the business operations internship. So within this team, they do a lot of different type of work, and this is really for folks who maybe are interested in business administration, project management, supply chain, I would say, are just some of the few. Doesn't just have to be those majors, but they're really focused on the business processes and enhancements that are going through, any training that needs to be done for communication. So they're at-large systems that we're using, and this team is one of the teams that focus on how we are creating those processes and working together, and making sure that all of that is efficiently, everyone has accesses that they need. So there's a lot of opportunity here. I've seen our interns focus on the UX experience side. So if you're more in the computer science side, I know they had interns working on just the landing pages that our customers are using within the surveys. How is that looking? We had one of our interns who is more in the side of finance. And so they were working with our teams and looking at the contracts and understanding the financials on that side, especially, I think, or specifically, I should say, with one of our UK colleagues. Our other intern was helping with more of the processes and managing the data that we had in one system and helping moving it over to the new system that we were transferring over to. So with the business operations role, I would say it's really dependent on what you're focused in, and the team has a variety of projects that are available for our interns to jump in and work on over the summer. So this role would also be hybrid or remote internship. So if this is something that you're interested, and I would say hybrid, again, we're headquartered in Chicago, so quite a few of our associates are within the area, but we also have associates across different states. For data science and analytics, I know I had a few questions about this one. So with our data science and analytics team, we have a fairly large group, 80 associates within the US, but about 300 associates worldwide. Majority of our associates within data science and analytics are either in Chicago, Atlanta, Denver, Portland, and St. Cloud. And St. Cloud's in Minnesota. So we have a lot of different opportunities within the groups. We're looking for both masters and undergrads. For all of our internship roles, there's a big focus on students who are have graduated, or will be graduating this year, or early next year in 2024, May or June. So you will see a lot of that in our internship roles and job descriptions, specifically for data science and analytics. They do focus a lot on training our interns over the summer and then transitioning them over into a full-time role after graduation. This team alone, they had 75% conversion. So that means 75% of their interns joined us full-time after their internship. And a lot of them were graduating in December. So they have just started with us actually this month, a few of them, and a couple early next month. So we do look for students who are graduating sooner for data science and analytics, as we do look at them to start within the year with us for a full-time role after that internship. I'm not too technical on that side to be able to share with some of the modeling techniques or regression models that they use there. What I will say about the recruitment process for this team is that their focus when it comes to the interview process is if you meet the criteria, they will ask you to complete a one-way video interview along with a technical assessment. The technical assessment will be a question on using SQL, and the other one would be either using R or Python. There's no time limit of how long it takes you to complete it. I will say on average, I see about 90 minutes to complete some of this. It just depends on the skill set and how familiar you are with technology, with the coding language. So if you are invited, I would say definitely make some time there, sit down and work on it. I know it takes some time, but you do get, I want to say about 4 days to complete that piece if you're invited to that next step. You don't have to be local to Chicago or Atlanta for this internship role. We did have interns last year working remotely. So we are open to interns working remotely. Again, when I say remotely, I mean within the US. For our IT business operations team, they're also called the Global Delivery Team. It's a fairly large group, as you can see, over 500 associates, over 13 countries. So there's a lot of connections there. What I would like to share about this team specifically, I always like to give a high-level overview when it comes to what they do. A lot of you, let's say, when you turned 18, possibly here in the US, because I know I saw this on my end, you start getting mail about that you've been pre-approved for a credit card. I don't know if that's the case for everyone, but I did see that spike on my end once I turned 18. And what this team does is kind of give that information to the banks or credit card companies. So our customers who are banks and credit card companies come to us and say, hey, we would like to get data for individuals who are turning 18 within this area and ask a couple more extra requirements. Again, high level explanation, guys. Our team will then pull that data based on the criteria that they requested and then send over that information to our customer for them to be able to action on the project that they're working on. Of course, there's a lot more detail in the background on how this occurs, but just to give you guys a high level of what that looks like, typically they're looking for undergraduate students who are in information systems. If you know how to use Tableau or Power BI, SQL, those are some of the criteria. I would say some type of knowledge in coding is what is needed here, because they're going to be leveraging ab initio, which they'll teach you here, because I know that's not something that's taught in classes. They'll teach you here at TransUnion. It's one of the skills that you'll gain to be able to help and get the products across. So I'll take a quick pause because I feel like I've been talking for quite some time. I'll look through a couple more questions here, but I don't know if there's anyone that has a burning question that wants to go live and ask. We're happy to answer them for you here. If not, I can go ahead and look through here the couple questions that we've received as well. I did see a couple questions around cloud, and I think Robbie, if I remember correctly, one of the teams is looking for individuals who maybe have some experience or understanding of cloud. I know that was one of the internship roles within information security. This year we don't have, I would say specifically software engineering internships open in that space, but I know within InfoSec we had one asked from one of the managers there within cloud experience. So let me share the link with you also. It's one main link for all of our information security roles, and from there we'll further discuss the breakdown.
I do have one question.
Yeah, go for it.
Whether the accounting internship role is remote. And I think we have that as hybrid.
Yes. We have it set up as hybrid. Leo, of course, to your team, if they're open to fully remote. I know a lot of our teams are looking at the hybrid, so if you're close to the area, I know some teams are meeting once a week or once a month to reconnect there.
Yeah, and I would point out with our team, it's probably a couple times a month that we're meeting, so it's not very often, but it is a hybrid role.
Great question, and it'll say there on the positions as well with additional information. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just trying to get the link for everyone. We don't have any product management internship roles, unfortunately, open at this time. Most of the roles that are the ones I mentioned here. I think the other group that we are missing would be in our logging and monitoring. So it's more of the back end IT support. So looking through our systems, ensuring that people have access to the different systems within TransUnion and helping them with getting access or closing out access. So not specifically, I would say software engineering this year. We just had a change in more of our roles, and I know there was a bigger focus with information security. So for finance, I know I answered via text, but I want to make sure I vocalize it too. Leo's role is the role we have open within our accounting and finance team, so this is mainly focused in accounting this year. I know, keep an eye out. I know sometimes we'll have some year-round internships open up within our group. So, and sometimes I've seen that within our finance and tax team. All right, so I think we answered quite a few of these. I don't know if there's any other pending. I see some new ones coming in. Do we have any opportunities in Houston? Currently, not specifically, I would say in Houston, but again, we do have open roles that are open to fully remote. So you can definitely take a look at those, Bradley. For IT support internship application, what skills should be highlighted in the application? So I would definitely look at the particular coding languages or systems that they ask you to be familiar. You want to make sure you bold that or show it at the very top of your resume. My key recommendation for all of you would be when you're applying to our internship roles or any internship roles across any company is to make sure that you're looking at the job description and any of the key skill sets that they're asking for, that they're seeing that they're looking for. Make sure that you are highlighting that in your resume, and it's not always just at the technical skills. You can always definitely highlight right at the top saying, hey, these are the coding languages I know, the systems and so forth, but maybe sometimes some of those soft skills you can highlight in the explanations that you give in your resume, right, of the roles that you've taken on, whether it's an internship, a job, or taking the lead on a project. You want to make sure that you highlight that. I always like to think when you're writing a resume and talking about specific role that you took on or project that you worked on, you want to think about the CAR method. So what was the challenge? What action did you take? And what was the end result? Right? That's how you want to make sure that you are projecting what you did and how it was successful for each of the work that you did for what you're highlighting in your resume. At TransUnion, all of our recruiters will review the resumes for either full-time or internships. We review the resumes ourselves. We don't have an AI system on our end who's reviewing and rejecting if you don't meet the keywords. But I would say a lot of companies do leverage that. So you want to make sure, that's why to always look at the job description, ensure you have those keywords in your resume to make sure that you are selected on that. And I will say, as a recruiter, when I'm seeing resumes, you take a quick glance, right? You look at through some of the keywords that are coming through. I would say 30 seconds to a minute is what a recruiter might take with reviewing a resume. So you want to make sure that you are highlighting those key areas that they're asking for in the job description. You'll see that Chicago is one of them. It's like the main location in our internship roles, Rico, but we do have flexibility there with some of them being remote. I actually have to take a quick look. I think there might be one. So Rico, definitely reach out to me. I will actually add my LinkedIn account, so you guys are all free to connect with me if you haven't connected. All right, guys. Well, I think that's all from my end. I'm very excited to have you guys here at today's event. Feel free to reach out with any other future questions, and looking forward to seeing your applications here. I'm one of the main recruiters for the role, so I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for your resumes. Thank you guys for joining us today. Leo, Ravi, thank you again for presenting, and have a great evening, everyone.